computer. All right, so without further ado, let me see what I'm sharing and then share it in a second. Take me a moment here. I had it open and then I lost it. Here it is. So this is the 1 hour training preview workshop series. And the reason we say preview is because these are bits and pieces of what we'll be doing in the longer training, which is a Mendful Core Competencies Immersion Training in February. And I will leave that to the talking about, the details about that till the very end, because we want to focus right now on the juicy parts of this. So I've already asked the permissions. I'm going to briefly give you an overview of where we are with the Mendful app, show you some sample screens, and a very high level training curriculum overview that I'll get more deeply into as we actually do some of the exercises. We'll have a couple of bite-sized Mendful exercises that are taken from the types of things that we'll be doing in the longer Mendful training. And I'll talk about how that fits in with the rest of the 1 hour workshops that are being offered between now and January, and also how it fits in with the full training. And then we'll have a brief evaluation, just basically asking you, what here was valuable to you, what wasn't. And then we'll harvest our insights and learnings and any Q&A together. And then those of you who are sure that you do not want to be part of the longer training can go, and then we'll stay and talk about the logistics of the in-person Mendful Core Competencies, not competences, immersion training. Sorry, Hallie.
No worries.
I feel like I have a few more spelling transgressions before I get a timeout, which would be appropriate. I'm kidding. Okay. So the Mendful app basically will provide conflict resolution on demand. We figure if you can get a human on demand 24/7 for food delivery, for psychic services, or for webcam entertainment, surely conflict resolution is at least as important, if not more so. We hope to transform conflict into reconnection and thus prevent alienation, estrangement, litigiousness, violence, and worse. We'll be working with what we call a fast, slow model, which will, one of the 1 hour workshops will go into. And by that, we mean that we can make conflict resolution happen faster when we hone in on and slow down the part where the client reveals what's really underneath the conflict that's presenting on the surface. There's always something. So if we can sort of hone in on that quickly and then slow down how we handle that, then that will speed up getting to the heart of the conflict between the two people. And a big part of this is that we really want to provide right livelihood opportunities for people who want to become certified coaches on the app. What we're going for right now is you being able to work 35 hours a week or less and still make a nice healthy 6 figures, or work even less than that if you only want supplementary income. So we think there are lots of places and institutions that will pay you lots of money to do not so savory things. We want to provide something that really means something to a lot of people and that we would enjoy as well, and create a great community while we do it. So here are some of the screens that we're working with right now. Here's what our current version, what it will look like when you download it is. When you
So let me stop you for a minute.
Yeah.
Ira, did you have a question?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I had put my hand up. So you said that people on this call can be a coach, but what is the requirement? Like, what is the qualification for someone to be a Mendful coach?
The qualification is that you become certified, and the typical path to certification is to go through the Mendful training. And
Okay.
the certification process is not just you go through the training and you're rubber stamp certified. The certification process is collaborative, and that means that when you feel ready, when the peers that you're working with feel ready, when you get good ratings from your practice clients, and I think you're ready, we all kind of feel like you're ready. We want to set you up for success. That will constitute certification.
Okay. And is there any relation at all to the NVC certification?
If you already have experience with NVC, certified or not, that's a really good start.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Hallie, for catching the hand up. I don't always see this. So these are our current screens that we're working with for the app, for the minimum viable product. When people come onto the app, they'll have a choice to talk to a human coach, or eventually, when we have it, Mendy, who is our AI coach. Or they can browse our library videos and articles and other resources. They might just want to poke around. They're not quite sure yet. And this is sort of a typical sign up screen. It costs about $200 an hour. We hope to be able to resolve most conflicts in under 2 hours. Some might take a little bit longer, but this fast, slow method will definitely be a lot cheaper than litigation or a lot of legal adjacent mediation, and it will be available quicker than, say, therapy. One of the things that we want to encourage for folks who want to become coaches is to carve out an area of expertise. This is me, a real person who has sort of a generic profile. These are fictional characters. Jamal focuses on friendship. He's the friendship whisperer. Michael likes to help men reconnect with their hearts. Maybe he runs a men's group. He probably does. Sandra wants to help Asian moms and daughters get through some of the intergenerational friction and come back to love and harmony. So these are just examples of things that people could specialize in and eventually host groups on the app and so on. Now, let's say somebody comes to the app and they want to know more about Jill. So they could meet me in a short video, or any of these folks. It would be a similar form. Here's a bio. They can learn more if they click the down arrow. Some of my blog posts, sessions, etc. So there will be a whole mechanism for anybody who wants to really build out a whole platform, an area of specialty on the app, client feedback. And you see it's green here. That means I'm available. People can schedule a session with me now, or if somebody's away, they can schedule a session later. I didn't change the color on this last screen, so it's not on brand, but we're looking for a way to help people show up in a video that feels a little bit more connected. Like here, everybody's in boxes. So that's what we're looking at, as well as ways, since the little heads are going to be so tiny, ways for the mediants to indicate how they're feeling during the session so that the conflict resolution coach can know who's feeling what. Any questions about the app before we go on to the exercises? Okay, so very high level overview. The Mendful approach to the core competencies training is starting in a big way with self in relation to self. And by that, we mean, how do we show up in our own bodies with our own thoughts, our own psyche/soma, mind, body. And then we apply the skills that we get from that foundation into how we show up with self in relation to other. And that all combines to give the skills to the Mendful Conflict Resolution Coach. So, question, why do we do it this way? Why not just start with the conflict resolution practices? Why not just start up here? Like, well, here's how you resolve a conflict. Why would we start down here with self in relation to self? That's not just a rhetorical question. I'm curious if you all
Build
have
safety. The most important thing is safety.
Safety. Yeah. Other thoughts?
Um, yeah, I think with NVC as well, Marshall Rosenberg says to start with yourself, like self-empathy. You
Mhm.
have to have empathy for yourself before you can try to empathize with the other person.
Mhm. Yes, empathy for self. Start with self. Any other thought?
I had one. I don't know if this is correct, but I think introspection of yourself and a very deep knowledge of your own persona and everything that you do and who you are is essential before you can truly help somebody else in a lot of ways. Just a guess.
Self-knowledge before helping others. Yeah. So another thought. And Joni, welcome. Any other thoughts before I go on? So a lot of times I've had experiences with practitioners where I would start to get to a place within myself and they seem to become anxious. And in order to manage their anxiety, they would kind of start to do their modality. And maybe they're really good at their modality, but it wasn't quite attuned to me. And I began to notice that even sometimes in NVC communities, that people would get to the place of conscious competency, meaning you start off unconscious incompetence, right? You start to learn something and you have conscious incompetence. And then you get to a place of conscious competence, like you know what you're doing and you're doing your thing, but you're kind of monitoring yourself as you're doing it. And if you stay there, you will never get to a place of flow. You'll never get to a place where you're relaxing into the field and kind of the field does the work and you're there to gently guide almost imperceptibly. And that is what we're going for. So that's why we spend so much time on self in relation to self. And if some of that sounds like gobbledygook, don't worry, I will come back to it and we'll clarify more. But first, let us do the first invitation, which is the witness stance. The witness stance is a fundamental part of self in relation to self. It's one of the first things we start with. It's braided with another concept I call being withness. Like, how do we be with what comes up? Because to the extent that we can be with a lot that comes up within us, we will transmit this field of spaciousness and acceptance so that the clients will feel like they too can bring forward what is within them. If we transmit a field of contraction, they'll feel like their field is also small of what they can say, what they can trust us with, what they can reveal about themselves. So a fundamental part of this self in relation to self is the witness stance. So we're going to do an exercise in just a moment. I'll explain, I'll demo myself, and then I'll invite one of you to demo with me if you'd like. So the invitation is to think of a time recently when you saw or heard or experienced a minor distress. We don't want to have anything too epic right now because we want to make it handleable. Say like on 1 to 3 on the scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the worst. And the invitation is to share that moment aloud in present time as a witness to yourself. I notice myself, or I notice if it's in the past, feeling or thinking, like experiencing sensations. And the other person who is with you in your breakout room will just listen. And if you'd like, you can ask or offer for reflection by permission. And I'm going to demonstrate that. And Hallie, will you witness me?
Sure, love to.
Okay, so the minor distress that I experienced recently was a very loud car alarm. I don't know if there are any soft car alarms going off very close to my window multiple times over a few days. And as I'm saying this, I notice my nervous system is kind of getting a little bit more activated. I notice I'm feeling that sense of almost like panic arising when I knew that if I closed my window, I would be too hot. I knew that if I yelled, probably no one would hear me. I notice I'm being in that space right now. I have a sense of helplessness, which at the time I noticed I was feeling kind of teary, and it's a real need to want to be considered. And it's just kind of powerless rage of, don't I matter? And then eventually I noticed that I saw these acorns falling from the tree onto the car, and I realized that this was what was setting off the car alarm. I felt a little bit more compassion for the person whose car it was, like they weren't just leaving a faulty car alarm around repeatedly. I noticed my nervous system start to settle a little bit as I see this natural phenomenon causing this thing to go off. So you notice that rather than just saying, I was angry, I was this, I was that, saying I noticed that and that's stepping a little bit like a foot out of the phenomenon inside me and occupying a different place within myself. It's like the place that's not activated is speaking to and noticing the place that is activated.
And as a response, I would say, Jill, I heard what you said and witnessed your feelings. Thank you for sharing them with me.
Thank you. Thank you, Hallie. Would somebody else like to try it that aloud in front of the group, just doing the witnessing, the self-witnessing?
I think this is what Jivan was saying earlier about safety and feeling safe. This is a safe space, and that's what we're trying to create in the app, is everyone feeling safe. So if no one wants to jump in, I will.
Okay.
Does someone want to witness me besides Jill? All you need to do is say, I witness you. You don't have to share anything.
Sure, I'll volunteer. Yeah.
Thanks, David. So a few days ago, I was driving and there was a person walking along the sidewalk next to the road. And all of a sudden, without looking, he just turned and walked in front of my car. And I noticed to myself immediately fear that I was going to hit him. But then I noticed it quickly turned to anger. What an idiot. Why didn't he look? And then kind of after I drove by, I noticed that compassion coming out of maybe he's deaf. I live very close to a deaf community. Maybe he's on drugs. Thankfully, I didn't hit him. So it was just noticing all of these flood of panic and fear and then anger. And then I noticed that relaxing feeling that Jill was saying before of the panic moment being gone and kind of reflecting on what happened.
Wow. Yeah. So this is where I say, I hear you saying that about that experience you had while you're driving, person walking in front of you, and then what you went through.
Thank you.
So is everyone clear on the invitation? Does anyone know what happened to Jivan and Catherine? Or can I just not see them?
No, yeah, they're there.
Oh, okay. I only see a strip of 5. So unless you ask Hallie otherwise, she will put you into a breakout room with one other person. You get to take turns, just recounting something that happened, a minor distress, and speaking in the form of, I noticed myself, or I heard myself saying these things. I told myself a story that they were an idiot. And so instead of just being in it and saying, this is what happened, this is how I felt. So I noticed that I felt this way. I noticed I had these thoughts. So the idea is that you're cultivating an awareness that is a step outside of actually being in it.
So Jill, I noticed that we forgot to have me be a co-host, so I do not have the ability to put people in breakout rooms just yet.
Hang on one second. Thank you. I knew there was something I forgot. Let me think I click on you, participants. Hallie, make co-host. Thank you. Joni, would you like to introduce yourself before we go on? Other folks already have.
Good evening. So, yes, I'm Joanne. I'm located in Panama, and I'm interested in a lot in this information about conflict resolution.
Oh, great.
It's a pleasure being here.
Welcome. So again, if anybody does not want to go in a breakout room and try this exercise, there's no way to do it wrong. I'd let Hallie know. Otherwise, you'll have about 5 minutes. Take a couple minutes each and try it with each other, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
Sure.
So I'm going to assign you a breakout room.
Catherine and Jivan, do you want to just work together?
Catherine is out, so
Oh, okay.
I'm lying down.
he's laying down. So
So you're single. Okay.
yeah.
Solo. Yep.
Okay. So all right. So now you can join your rooms.
Hey,
Hi,
David.
David. How'd it go?
Oh, great.
Cool.
I was thinking of those themes that you learn about, like you classify all books or like, well, sorry for the gender reference, but this is how I learned it originally. Man versus man, person versus person, man versus nature. Anyway, I felt like I had him. And then there's man versus himself. Those are like supposedly the person versus themselves. Those are supposedly the three anyway.
I remember that.
And so I feel like I had a person versus themselves nature type of experience instead of a person versus a person.
Yeah. Do you want to share?
Oh, yeah, just, I mean, I was just talking about my experience trying to go to the county fair on Sunday. And then after the fact, realizing that all the people that are actually there know that there is no parking at all and that you have to plan ahead of time to figure out how to get there with no parking. And now I know for next year. But I was like, I cannot tell you how pissed at myself I was until like, how could I not have figured that out? Anyway.
So how is this for you in terms of witnessing yourself having an experience as opposed to just having the experience?
You're asking me?
Anybody who wants to answer, we're harvesting some of the insights and learnings or perceptions. Some of
Can
you
you
look
ask the
like
question again?
Yeah. So how was it for you to recount a slightly distressing experience from the point of view of noticing that these things are happening inside of you, as opposed to just talking about it like you normally would?
I mean, I think for me, it's always, this is the essence of NVC, is it always comes from within first in your whole internal experience, and not you or this person, or like, you know, this person did this thing and that made me this way.
Mm-hmm. So you're aware of it bringing the focus back to what's going on inside of you. Anyone else?
I could comment if you don't mind. When I used this format and this template to explain what was stressing me out, by verbalizing it step by step, it made me realize that it was actually worked out and fine. And that was an initial burst of stress, and then I actually worked it out, and I think I did for the other person too, who I was having to deal with. So I was like, oh, what was I getting all upset about? Just kidding.
So it had kind of a calming effect. Is that?
Yeah. I realized Kim, you worked that out. And like it kind of worked out for everybody. So I don't usually do that.
I just noticed the time, so I was going to ask for one more share, but I want to say one thing before we go on to the next thing. And I'm cutting out some of the explanation and Q&A part that I'll invite people to stay on if they want, because I want to make sure that you have the next exercise. I don't remember where I read this, or I would provide the reference, but I saw an experimental treatment of people who were diagnosed with schizophrenia, who were asked to stand outside of themselves and describe, I noticed myself doing this. It's like, just like we just did. And then they were asked to take another step outside of themselves. Say, I noticed myself noticing myself doing this. And a third step, I noticed myself noticing myself, talking about noticing, stepping outside and outside. And they did this to 37 levels. And apparently this was effective in treating schizophrenia. And I was so impressed by this that I always remembered it. And it struck me as something that like we can do inside of ourselves to find more witnesses, these, like Russian nested dolls with greater and greater perspective, and how profound that could be. I haven't done it myself to level 37, but sometimes I do it to 2 or 3. So I'm going to keep sharing right now. I'm going to go a little bit faster so we can make sure and get through everything. So we did that. Here is about being in and out of center and flow. Remember I talked about, when you get to the level of conscious competence, you can sometimes be in your head and doing a thing and miss completely. Being in compassionate flow. I'm going to give an example of that. And when I was doing my nonviolent communication mediation training, I was very excited about all that I was learning. I thought it was quite profound. My best friend was talking to me about an issue that she was having with someone else. And so I said to her in, by the book NVC fashion, are you feeling frustrated because your need for respect was not met? Pleased with myself that I could come up with that in the moment. And she yelled at me. She said, don't do MVC on me. And I thought, well, clearly she doesn't understand how profound this model is, and she doesn't appreciate it. And kind of in my mind, I noticed myself making her wrong. And I had previously worn her badge of friend with best empathy, but I lost it in that moment because I was doing, can you see my little cursor? I was using empathy to get out of the flow of really attuning to her with compassion. Also, people can use attunement. Salespeople can use attunement to manipulate you. They don't have empathy or compassion for you. They're just trying to make you do something, right? Also, has anyone ever received compassion that felt smothering or overwhelming? Right? So any of these things can be used in the service of anything else. And what we're trying to do with Mendful is find a way to step into the heart of repair and create that field of love and spaciousness that is really attuned and brings the empathy and compassion in a way that is in the service of the client. And we have just 12 more minutes. So I'm going to take this exercise. It was going to be with 2 people and invite you to do it on your own. And that is to take a way of stepping out of flow that you have done yourself, or maybe you've seen done to you, and exaggerate it, and then come back into center. For myself, I'm going to think about how I am with my cat sometimes. My cat is so cute that I just want to pick him up and squeeze him, but he does not like that. Right? So Hallie, can you be my cat for a moment? So I'm going to come at my cat like this, and it's big human, and I just want to squeeze him.
Ah,
Right? So she's like, what are you doing? Is that attuned to my cat? Is that compassion? No, it's all about me. Right? So I'm like this. And then I'm going to come back and I remember my cat likes it when I am slow and he can come up to me. Right? And so one of the things we'll be doing in the training is learning what are our own patterns, whether it's, I might be leaving. It might be going up into my head and I'm going to try one other thing. Hallie, can you just say to me, wow, I had a really rough day.
Sure. Wow, Jill, I had a really hard day today.
Uh, okay, so you're feeling bad because you had a rough day. Yeah, yeah. So right, so what am I doing? I'm going up into my head and I'm trying to get it right. Like I'm doing empathy. I'm doing what I was taught to perform as empathy or compassion, but it didn't really attune to her, right? She frowned, she screwed up her face. So the invitation here, since we have just 11 minutes, is to stay on camera or off camera and think of a way that you, with the best of intentions, get off center like that. Like you're trying to be empathic or compassionate or tune, but you give somebody something that doesn't quite land. Or if you can't think of anything that you've done, think of something someone has done to you, very well intentioned, but it just didn't quite land. We're going to take just a couple of minutes for you to embody that and then come back to how you really wanted to show up, or how you really wanted the other person to show up for you. If anybody, and then after that, if anybody wants to show what happened, like I did, you can. So just take your time now, go off camera and do it, or do it in your mind, or however you want. But what I want for you to have, my invitation to you is to feel in your body what it's like to go off course from being there for someone the way that you want to, or for someone else to go off course and being there for you the way you would like. So just take another 30 seconds and wind that up. Now let's come back. Anyone want to share what that was like?
I'll go. I have had a similar situation as you did, Jill. Sometimes talking to my kids, I'll try to repeat back to them what they said to me to make sure, so I hear you had a rough day. And they say, don't therapize me, Mom. I hate it when you therapize me. So in trying to be compassionate, I'm trying too hard.
You're trying in a way that doesn't land with them?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Anyone else? No one want to go? So this is one of the things that we play with a lot during the main training, and I'm going to share with you again. And I'm going to ask with this next image that I show you that you try to experience the image that I'm about to show you with your body, as opposed to understanding it with your mind, and see how that is.
Jill, I'm not sure what we're supposed to do right now.
Just see if you can experience this image. Like what happens for you? And go ahead and you can call out a word or a sentence or anything that your response to this image. You can see my screen, right? And it can be with your head if you want, or it could be like happy or confused or curious or
Yeah, I could just tell you my response. I think I know what you're trying to get to with it. It's a little teeny busy, where I think it maybe if it's built upon each concept, one, two, three, 1, 2, 3, and then the field is explained as well, and then you can say that Mendful is in the middle. I could see that maybe driving home a little bit, kind of more than just seeing the image, a little more cold.
I will give some verbal explanation. I just wanted to see if folks had reactions to it. So what we're trying, I'm sorry, somebody about to say something?
I have a reaction to it.
Yeah.
Just the words that came to my mind were deep connection, deep and sincere connection. That was it.
Nice.
David, you're nodding.
Yep. That's kind of what I was getting, something similar to that.
Yeah. So what I was trying to illustrate here was what happens when we're at the level of unconscious competence with a client or two, and the empathy and compassion and attunement are just flowing because we're leaning into the field. The field is doing the work. The field is supporting us, and things are just flowing. We don't have to think about it too hard because the techniques are in our being. The right thing sort of comes forward without us having to force it. Almost like we're channeling is kind of a woo word, but things are just sort of flowing. We're in a flow state. And that's what I hope to achieve with the training. And these are little bites, these are little seeds. The main training will be like the soil where those take root and grow. And it is now 4:57, so I want to invite folks who if you know you're not interested in the main training, to take a quick evaluation. And Holly, can you put that in the chat?
Yeah, it's already there. It's the one that I've highlighted or sent.
If you put it there before people signed on, they won't be able to access it. So you have to put it in again.
Okay.
Hey, Jill, is it possible to send this on an email?
Yes, but I'm afraid that most people won't do it if I do that. But you can take it. We can do that. Joni, did you mean yes, you agree? Joanne, did you mean yes, you agree with that, or yes, you'll do it?
Both.
So if you could take that link, if you could take the link now and put it in your browser window, you can do it later.
Oh no, I'm gonna do it right away.
You want to do it right now? Okay. And then what I'll do is I'll stay on here. So if you have time, I'll go over some of the details of the training. And if you're interested in the training, but you have to go, I will send out the deck and you can go over them.
How long is the training? You're saying you're doing that right now?
No, the training is in February. The main training, yeah. These 1-hour workshops are like training, bite-sized preview pieces of the training.
But you said we can go now or stay for what's the next part?
I'll talk about the logistics of the training, and I'll answer any questions that you have. I just want to make sure that people don't feel like they're being held hostage if they have to go.
Is that just a few, like 10 minutes or?
Yeah, I mean, I'll stay longer if folks want, but this is really driven by you and what you want right now.
Okay, thanks.
So I will share again. The logistics. Why? Oh, so this intro workshop is number one of the 5 workshop series. I forgot that previews the in-person Mendful Core Competencies Immersion Training. And the rest of the 1-hour workshops are attunement, which we just previewed, empathizing with the enemy, fast, slow conflict resolution, and concepts, models, and philosophies for those of you who really want to geek out with what's underneath it all. We'll have that in just a moment. So this first training, this first in-person training is an accelerated alpha pilot training that is low cost. We're just going to try to cover our costs this time. High evaluative participation of each other curriculum in the app. And the reason, I'll tell you what I mean by all those things. Accelerated, meaning that there's only going to be 6 weeks between each of the long weekends. Normally for something like this, when I've done them in the past, both as teacher and a student, it's been like 3 meetings over 9 months instead of 3 meetings over 3 months. So it's accelerated. Alpha pilot means that this is the very first training we're going to be doing. And so you all will have an opportunity to help shape the Mendful curriculum, to help shape the app. We'll be testing out the app during the middle and later part of the training. And if you want deep involvement and the opportunity to get in on the ground floor and develop leadership within Mendful, this is a great opportunity for that. It'll be 3 long weekends in Northern California, about 6 weeks apart. So it'll look like you arrive on a Thursday. There'll be 3 full days of training, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and then you leave on Tuesday. And of course, that's flexible to match your lives. And I put the tentative 2026 dates here. And remote training, and Kim, I know I talked to you about this, could work for groups of 2 or more who can be physically together for each of the 3 weekends. So talk to me if you want to do that. And then in between the training, because it's accelerated, you should allow about 5 hours per week, and we'll assign you with a pod of 3 others to practice. And during that 5 hours per week, you'll not only practice, but you'll record your sessions and you'll look at other people's recorded sessions, because observing and weighing in is a way to accelerate this. And we want to do a soft launch of the app in June and have people on the app earning money and giving sessions in June, if we can. And how do I move this out of the way so I can see? What does it say? Oh, to see the full details here. Hallie, can you put the link to the description on the website there into the chat? So does anybody have any questions about anything that we've gone over today, or the training itself, or Mendful? This is one of the quietest groups I've ever met. I can't tell if you don't have any thoughts or you don't want to share them. It's fine. It's okay.
I think you're kind of preaching to the converted here. I think we all, at least I'll speak for myself. I love the idea and I'm totally committed to this. And I think it's so needed by our world. Kim, what you were saying when we first got on the call, Kim's writing a book about our nation and some of the frustrating ways we've been indoctrinated to think. And tying in other people's comments that they've made during this time, it just seems like we're all on the same page. It's nice to be in a room full of people who feel the same way.
So I have a request and just a question. Hallie and I spent hours, commenting on posts, trying to outsmart the LinkedIn algorithm that seems to want to keep these things hidden. If you know folks to invite, or if you can go onto my feed and comment on posts to help elevate them. We don't really have a marketing budget, so we're trying to use social media as best we can to get the word out. And there were 101 people who marked attending for this on LinkedIn, and another 20 some on Facebook, and this is who came. So we need to obviously get the word out more widely. And I'm not sure how to do that. So if any of you have ideas, or you know folks, or you have the bandwidth to come onto LinkedIn and just say, hey, good job, or whatever, like to help elevate, to help boost the algorithm and get the word out, we're all ears.
Do you have like a YouTube video or something that kind of explains the whole thing, like maybe in 5 minutes or less?
That is a really good idea. I have a kind of crappy video that I need to redo, and so you're putting the bug in my ear to do that.
Okay.
Jill, I can help you. I went like privately. It's kind of what I do. So
Oh,
it's
I had no idea, Kim.
well, I make giant groups, communities online, and that's it. I can, no guarantees, but I that's what I actually do.
Wow.
Cool.
Yep. It's been a journey, but I can definitely give you tons of suggestions.
Thank you so much. I remember you telling me how some got taken down. This is a long time ago. I don't remember all the details, but
Yeah, I was on I was monetized for a while, and then like 50,000 I got booted off because they hated my content. It's just, but yeah, I've done many different platforms, and I've formulated a way to get a lot of people in one place. So that's
wow. Okay.
I just did a seminar for somebody actually 2 days ago.
All right. Well, I'm going to reach out to you for sure. And Joanne, I think you said that you were in Panama, right? So one of my yeah. So and Zach is in Thailand right now. One of the things we hope to do in order to provide 24/7 on-demand human conflict resolution coaches is to have people working in different parts of the world in different time zones. And one of the easiest ways to do that will be to have a group of people who already know that they want to be trained. Maybe they already know NVC, maybe they're somatic experiencing practitioners or doing something in the healing therapeutic realm. And so they just need some additional training in Mendful. And then we can have a whole cadre. There's somebody in Poland that I met when I was there who's very interested in this. So I'm hoping that we can have different time zones represented over the next couple of years. So if you know of any groups who you think would be interested in, signing up for this as a group, if there's enough folks, I can go to them.
Correct. Yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to, a vision to work towards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, everyone. If you want to stay and talk with me, and whoever stays on afterwards, I'm not saying privately because there might be more people than just the two of us. But if you want to talk with me privately, let me know and we can do a one-on-one as well. Thanks so much for coming. And if there's nothing else, say good night or good day or wherever you are in your time zone. Thanks for showing up.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
the work
sharing.
that you put into this.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Nice meeting everyone.
Thanks.
Nice
Bye.
meeting you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.